So we have to be grateful for all those little things in life that we take for granted. And when like your health goes away, you recognize it. When you're in a war zone, oh my God, those days that I was complaining about, I would give anything to have those days back again. And it's like gratitude is just one giant way of saying thank you. And I love the fact that it's not religious. It doesn't preach anything other than being, kind and mindful, just to acknowledge, thanking people that have helped you along your path, being grateful for the fact that we are part of this grand thing called nature, not separate from it, connected to it. It's the only way we're going to survive. How can you not be grateful?
Stay connected to gratitude. Hit the follow button right now and join thousands of listeners tuning in each week. We're the Gratitude Seekers. Come join us. Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. This is going to be a really special one because today's guest is an award-winning cinematographer, director, and producer whose notable career spans more than 4 decades, providing breathtaking imagery using time-lapse and cinematography techniques to tell inspiring stories that celebrate life. His TED Talks have over 65 million views, and he speaks about gratitude. And I'm very happy to have our guest from today because I believe we have a lot of things in common. We both love nature. We both love gratitude. We love hearing people's stories and finding things about them and about their passions. And we also love transmitting beautiful images to the world and sharing them with the world. And we'll be talking about this quite a bit during the interview and especially near the end, because you'll see it's going to be something really, really wonderful that you'll be able to enjoy and just have an amazing experience of gratitude. Louie Schwartzberg, welcome to the Gratitude Podcast.
It's great to be here with you, Georgian.
It's great having you here. And like I said, I'm really honored and really happy to have such an amazing person on the Gratitude Podcast, and also someone that's sharing this perspective on gratitude and the power that gratitude has. So let our audience know more about you, about your work. I wanted to keep this short because I could have went on and on about all of them, the amazing things that you've done and all of the awards that you won, but I wanted to keep it brief for the first minutes.
Yeah, well, basically I'm a filmmaker. And I love to take audiences on journeys through time and scale, making the invisible visible, showing the rhythms and patterns in nature and in people that we sometimes either ignore, take for granted, or we don't see. So that are the kind of films I like to make, films that celebrate life, everything from nature to people. And with fantastic Fungi, which, by the way, today in the Hollywood Reporter, it listed the top 10 nature, planet Earth documentaries of all time, and wow, we're in it, including going back to films made like by Jacques Cousteau, 1956, Silent Spring. It's pretty cool to be in that category. So anyways, that's who I am as a filmmaker. And it's not about the awards. It's really about sharing, nature's wisdom.
Wow, and you're doing an amazing job, and I totally recommend your work. And I think it's so fascinating how you manage to make us feel the passion that you have for nature and for the things that in our world, big and small. I find that amazing, and you can't help but feel that sense of appreciation for the world that we live in when you see those images. I think it's just amazing.
Well, what's beautiful is that, like, everyone around the world can relate to the same thing called beauty. I mean, you're in Romania, and so it touches your soul. If it touches my soul, it doesn't, it's not just me. We all have the same aesthetic connection to universal energy. Like the patterns of the galaxies look like the patterns on the beach, the patterns in your neurological pathways of your brain, the patterns of the circulatory system in your body. They're all visually very similar. Therefore, we all look at that stuff and we go, wow, and it's almost like you recognize yourself looking in the mirror. That's why I think it's so powerful. So it isn't just what turns me on, it turns everybody on.
Exactly. And I love one of the things that you mentioned in one of your TED talks, that many people looking at your work say, "Oh my God." And I love how you explain that. Maybe you want to do this here as well, to share with our listeners what that "Oh my God" means, because I feel that it's just amazing.
Well, so many times, I would say the most common reaction that I hear from people when they see the film and the films is, "Oh my God." And so, I thought about it over and over, and I kind of broke down, what does "Oh my God" mean? So, and the effect that it has, I feel that it translates into the O means I got your attention. The my means it touched something deep in your soul. And God is that universal energy we all want to be connected to. And so when you recognize it, it's kind of appropriate that you say, "Oh my God."
Exactly. I love this explanation, because we say it in other situations as well, but especially in what you just mentioned, when we see something like this that touches us uh, on a profound level, and we say, "Oh my God," it's it's so deep, and it connects us basically to everything. We recognize that we are part of the nature that we see, and that makes us um, say this with such emphasis. "Oh my God," it's wow. I really love it, and it really made me look at this expression differently, and it's so powerful. But I'm very curious to find out, when and where and how did you come across gratitude?
Hmm. Well, that was, I think, a natural evolution because, growing up in Brooklyn, my parents were Holocaust survivors. And so they appreciated like all the little things in life, everything like food on the table, a roof over your head, not being in a war, um, a steady job, the miracle of having children. Those were all like miraculous things to them. And so growing up under that, lens of gratitude, it was only natural that I'd, grow up and I wanted to make the world a better place. And I wanted to be able to, like, fight for social justice. But then I also evolved into, finding my voice with filmmaking, which turns you on to nature. And then you also become, a champion for fighting for the little guys, the bees and the fungi and the foundation of life, the thing that gives us the healthy food. I mean, they need protection. I mean, basically, I want there should be no species or race that should ever be, go extinct because of our, bad behavior, you know? And so I'm going to stand up for anyone whose life is threatened by some other force of energy, because we have to recognize that's wrong. And I feel for you being so close to the conflict you have now in Ukraine. I mean, whoever thought that we'd be repeating something like that today? And so we have to be grateful for all those little things in life that we take for granted. And when like your health goes away, you recognize it. When you're in a war zone, oh my God, those days that I was complaining about, I would give anything to have those days back again. And it's like, so gratitude is just one giant way of saying thank you. And I love the fact that it's not religious. It doesn't preach anything other than being, kind and mindful, just to acknowledge, thanking people that have helped you along your path, being grateful for the fact that we are part of this grand thing called nature, not separate from it, connected to it. It's the only way we're going to survive. How can you not be grateful?
A collection of brand new limited time recipes made with sustainable, earth-friendly ingredients await you this month with Green Chef plus 60% off. It's Earth Month, and to celebrate it, not only do you get premium recipes featuring sustainably sourced food with a low carbon footprint, but for every box sold, Green Chef, through their partner One Tree Planted, plants a tree in northern Thailand to combat food insecurity in vulnerable communities. Bring more flavor to your table while reducing food waste by up to 23% compared to grocery shopping. Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh, and with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for everyone. I love switching between the brands, and now you, my dear gratitude seeker, can enjoy both brands at a discount with me. Being vegetarian, I love eating farm-fresh, nutritious food, and spring is the best time to enjoy all the rejuvenating flavors that nature offers us. But if you prefer vegan, keto, protein-packed, Mediterranean, fast and fit, or gluten-free, Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well, has you covered. Go to greenchef.com/gratitude60 and use code gratitude60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. You heard that right. Go to greenchef.com/gratitude60 and use code gratitude60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Being aware of who we are is something that helps us in all of our decisions, to make sure we're aligned and on the path we truly desire. When I realized I was doing a lot of things rigidly just to prove that I'm reliable, I started working on a deeper wound that kept me back through this unkind behavior towards myself. In my therapy session, I was helped to see what I've been pushing away because of that and started shifting it, offering myself time, priority, and the necessary vulnerability to ask for help and rely on others. Therapy can help us find out new things about ourselves and free us from those things that don't help us anymore. Give BetterHelp a try. It's convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/gratitude today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/gratitude. Exactly. I love your perspective, and it's so profound and so real. Like, I am sure that everyone listening to this feels the fact that it's the real thing. And like you mentioned, one of the things I love most about gratitude that is that it's I don't know, beyond religious views and perspectives. I actually had many kinds of uh, practitioners of different kinds of religions on the podcast because I was so curious on their take on gratitude and how they perceive gratitude. And I just love the fact that it's something that it's common to most religions, to most religious views, and I think this is so powerful. And that's one of the reasons why I love gratitude that much as well, because it's something that you can find everywhere basically. And it's, in my opinion, in my experience, if you see that, that's the truth. When you speak with people from different places in the world and from different religious views, and they all say that gratitude is a cornerstone for life. Well, for me, that that means that it's the right thing to be talking about and to be experiencing as much as possible. So I wanted to get back to something that you just mentioned, um, the fact that you did things for the little guys, and for um, plants, and for insects that can speak for themselves. And you mentioned in your TED Talks something that really struck home, and I feel it's so powerful and important, related to gratitude. The fact that we tend to protect the things that we appreciate. And I think this is so powerful. And one of the things that most of our uh, guests on here on the podcast have said that helps them connect to gratitude is nature. And by appreciating nature, we can protect it. And I think this is a really important thing. But I would like for you to tell us more about this idea of
Yeah.
what we appreciate, we protect.
Well, actually, I went deeper than that. I said, uh, beauty is nature's tool for survival because we protect what we love, not
Yeah.
appreciate. Appreciate's good. Love's even a little bit deeper because I
Mm,
think we're hardwired to love. We're hardwired in nature for life to go forward, to reproduce. DNA wants to go forward. It's unstoppable. And then what do we call that? Well, we scientifically give it a name. We call it reproduction. Wow. So what is reproduction? Well, reproduction is this beautiful dance of life where our sensory receptors are being turned on by the rhythms and patterns of nature, as like the flower puts out its scent, its color, its pattern, to say to that bee, the pollinator, come to me because I need to move my DNA forward. And then the bee takes that pollen and helps the flower reproduce and have diversity with another flower in order for it to, evolve in a stronger way. And all of this seduction is happening by turning you on. It's not like do this, do that, like a to-do list. You're being motivated by an emotional feeling called love, you know? And then if you love something, you protect it. That's why babies are cute. If they weren't cute, people wouldn't spend, their lives raising kids. And puppies are cute and kittens are cute. It's like you never saw an ugly puppy, right?
yeah.
Because they need to be nurtured. They need to be raised. And so it touches your heart in such a deeply profound way that you'll do anything to protect. And you look in the animal world, you'll see how reproduction is like more important than eating. And once they have babies, they protect them like life or death situations. They will fight to protect. They're hardwired to do that. We are hardwired to do that as well.
Wow. Yeah. Indeed, it goes deeper than that. And it in my experience, gratitude and love are the pillars, like those things um, that, like I said, I found in many different cultures, in talking with many different people from all around the world. I was able to see this, that aside from gratitude, love was the other one that I could find in many other places. And yeah, it's a powerful thing that um, is so closely related to life and to us being here. Actually, without
Hmm.
love, we wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and again, in the films, that I make, even with gratitude revealed, when I'm filming, these stories of people who've overcome adversity but have love and joy and hope in their life that are very resilient. Um, those are the stories I love to tell because of what I described earlier. Standing up for the little guy, don't want extinction events to occur on any level to any people, plant, or animal. You know, but at the same time, I do use beauty to tell my stories because I am seducing you, the audience, just as nature seduces you in a really positive way, to be able to um, see the big truth. I didn't create the time lapse flower. I'm just showing you the time lapse flower. if you can relate to that grand truth, then obviously it opens your heart. And we all know the flip side of that is that beauty is used also in advertising and marketing to sell product because it works. It's the only thing that works. Nobody puts up an ad of just a bunch of letters that says, buy my product. It is done with art. It is done with the most expensive, talented people on the planet. Make commercials. I used to do commercials. That was my training ground where I got to work with the best people, to manipulate people to buy product. I look back, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore, but I don't feel ultimately guilty about it, but I was always conscious that, getting people to buy products. Some products they need, some products they don't need, which is the biggest problem on the planet, like the consumerism. But I was very aware of how much energy it takes and how much money and how much research goes in to manipulating you with the right music and color and rhythm and pattern and beauty to get your attention, which equals your consciousness, to affect your behavior. And so I want to take all that energy, and instead of being buy a product, protect the planet. Don't tell people what to do. It's not like recycle or do this or do that, because you will automatically make the right choices if you love it. You'll just know. I'm not going to throw away that stack of paper. I would not put pesticide in my garden. I'm aware of the bee on the flower. It's just you just become more conscious, and it's easy to just make the right choices.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And the more we appreciate nature, and I love how you say it, get seduced by it and by its beauty and all of the amazing things that it offers us, you think differently about the things that you're doing, and about the way other people are also treating nature. Because I don't know if it's the case in the States, but here, whenever I go out on a hike or something, I see lots of garbage thrown around, and it's so sad because the nature itself is so beautiful, and unfortunately there are people that are just throwing things around. And um yeah, whenever I
Oh,
can, I help out. But
I just want to say, George, I really want to commend you and tell you how much I appreciate you, because you're in a country that is, going through rough times. I think I heard that more people are leaving, like it's like in the number 3 country in the world where people emigrate. But, it's tough to be where you are, yet gratitude emerges in those spaces of circumstances where there's scarcity and where there's hardship. It's even more apparent sometimes. And it's beautiful, because I'm sure what it does, it gives you resilience, you know, instead of like always thinking negatively, which is valid, totally, and easy to do. You switched it because without hope, there's no other option. And the only way you're going to be hopeful is to be optimistic. And you can be optimistic and you can make changes, because look what you're doing. You got a podcast coming out of Romania right now in this moment, talking to me in LA, sharing the beauty of gratitude. And it's all because of you. So I want to thank you for that and tell you how grateful I am for that.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm a bit nervous. Thank you. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, it's wonderful to be seen and appreciated, and it never gets old. It's always something new and so beautiful to have this experience, be able to give it and to be able to receive it. And yeah, it's just something wonderful that I'm really happy that I'm able to do, and I'm really happy that we're able to have this wonderful conversation about this beautiful topic. Because like you said, there are many people here that are just complaining and just talking about all of the bad things that are going on in the country, and all of the things that aren't the way they're supposed to do. But still, we have so much beauty here, and nature is amazing from many points of view. Sure, there are garbages on the side of
Yeah,
the road, a few more than there should be. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a beautiful country that we can enjoy and we can really appreciate. And like you said, from that comes the change, and uh, even more so than telling people what to do and how to think. Yeah,
yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Well, again, and look, it gives me hope too, knowing that
Yeah,
you in these darker places around the world are, part of the movement. And that's what I want to have happen with the movie is to make it a movement, a global movement. We did it with Fantastic Fungi, you know, we really created a whole awareness movement about mushrooms, how they can heal the planet, your body, and shift consciousness. And now we want to be able to do, I think, the same thing with Gratitude Revealed and make it available because um, it's the next step. Once you learn about the wisdom of nature, then the big question is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to integrate that into your life or your community, your friends, your family, and the world? The way that nature lives in harmony, the way nature is about relationships, about connection, about rebirth, regeneration. You know, those are all lessons for us to how to have our society or our governments because because it works beautifully. It isn't like we have to invent it. We just have to see it. The mycelial network, like it's a shared economy under the ground where nutrients and information is shared without greed for ecosystems to flourish. Wow. It's not a bunch of trees that are individuals. It's one giant community. That's what a forest is. And now they've proven this scientifically. They put a radioisotope in a tree and then they track it underground 50 yards away into another tree because that tree is going to help that tree or tell that tree some kind of a warning. It's incredible. So, indigenous people always recognize these ecosystems as being sacred, as having consciousness, as being sentient. Well, now we have evidence, scientific evidence, that it's true, you know? And so that's how nature works. I mean, and it's a great blueprint because, for, hundreds of millions of years, they figured out the ultimate way to live on the planet, obviously without destroying your resource and not polluting it. So there's an example of how it works. All we got to do is follow it. It's called biomimicry, you know, same thing. It's like, let's just follow that path and there'll be enough, I think, for everybody.
exactly. Because one of the things that this reminded me of what you just said is the fact that um, most of the best designs that we have as humans for airplanes, for different things that we are using and that work perfectly are basically from nature. They were inspired by nature, but by what works and has worked for millennia. So I think this is very powerful and very exciting. And um, I'm also a big fan of Lord of the Rings, and I couldn't help but think about the ants and the forest, and it's actually uh, based on truth. Uh,
Yeah.
if I'm thinking to what you just mentioned, the fact that uh, they were saying in the movie that the trees speak to each other, and they have tree herders that keep them safe and that take care of them. There's a source of truth there, and I couldn't even imagine that it was true. So yeah, it's so
Well, so
fascinating.
well, that's what we showed in Fantastic Fungi. We had sequences with Suzanne Simard, who was the scientist who really did the experiments, proving that the mother tree takes care of its own, offspring. How amazing is that? That love energy we talked about earlier isn't just in the animal world. It's in the plant world, or maybe it's in it. Maybe it's everywhere. You know.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what is pretty powerful, and it's really cool to be able to like contemplate those ideas, and then therefore it doesn't become new agey or woo woo to be talking about the fact that it's all connected. Don't make fun of me, and say like I'm a crystal new agey thing. And no, That is the evidence that is on the table. It's finally that it's all connected. And therefore, if it's all connected, whatever we do, to ourselves, whatever we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. Whatever we do to each other, we do to ourselves. It's the golden rule: do unto others as you would do unto yourself. I mean, there you're hearing that same truth told over and over. See it in nature over and over, and it all boils back to kindness and gratitude for being able to do the dance of life in harmony. We don't have to hurt each other. We're all connected. We have to be connected. If we're not connected, we don't survive. Nothing lives alone in nature. We're all symbiotically related somehow on some level. I mean, think about the fact you got 1 trillion cells in your body. They're all working in harmony. They're all working. There's a plan. God, thank God we don't have to worry like how to manage all those guys, to make sure that you got the right number of blood cells, the right number of sugar and salt and this and that and everything that's going on. It's beyond comprehension, So that pattern of successful behavior, of life forward behavior, we need to be able to just observe it and then let's incorporate it. That means, don't pollute the atmosphere and don't just take more than what you need. And, with all the environmental degradation. So one of the reasons I made Gratitude Revealed, actually 3, I think. One is we are all getting depressed and there is this mental health crisis, given the fact that we are in an extinction scenario with climate change. The science is what it is, and it is, we have to be very vigilant. Number 2, we just came out of the pandemic where all the things we took for granted, like being able to be with your friends, being able to like have dinner going with your family, seeing your family, we took for granted, And then the politics in the world are really terrible at the moment with all these authoritarian demagogues and right-wing stuff that seems to be happening everywhere as a flashback almost, I hate to say it, to World War II. I mean, you're right there, man. You're in the neighborhood of what, Putin is doing in Ukraine. It's unbelievable that that's happening today. So obviously people can feel despair. I'm imagining in Romania, it would even be more intense because it seems like it's right around the corner. And so the only way we can, I think, stop out of that negative spiral is to just pause for a moment and think of something we can be grateful for. Like, can my fingers move? I'm breathing. I'm looking at the light coming through the tree. I'm looking at the cracks in the sidewalk. It looks like a river. It stops the negative spiral. It actually does stop it. It puts it on pause because you can't be going that negative spiral mentally and positive spiral at the same time. So you switch. Now I'm thinking about something I really love, appreciate, I really like. And what it does is it gives your brain the ability to go forward. So you take a baby step. And that's all it is. It's not the answer or a solution, but you took a baby step in the right direction. And then you continue on that with celebration of life and family and whatever it is you want to feel, because the brain can only hold so much data. And like a hard drive on your computer, if you fill it up with good stuff, there's actually no room for the bad stuff to come in. It doesn't mean we're not vigilant. It doesn't mean you got your eyes open and you're aware of the politics and everything else that's going around you. But you can't live in that world because that's what they want. That's like Big Brother. You're being oppressed. You are being victimized. True. That's what they want you to feel, that you don't have power. And with media today, it's really easy to constantly keep brainwashing people because of all these news feeds that are fake, and we don't know what's real. That we've never lived in a time like that. Completely unique. So gratitude, again, is my only offering to take us out of that negative spiral world and that story that is like bad, and keeps us depressed and oppressed and despair. And we say, no, fuck it. We're going to go in this other direction. I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to heal the world by healing my community, my family, and my friends. And that's what I'm doing. That's what we have to say to each other. And the first step is gratitude.
Exactly. And do what nature does, right? Even if it's hard, even if it went through winter like we did with the pandemic and with all of the things happening, we can still get to spring, and we can still get reborn, and find the resources to bloom again, and to be great again, and to shine again, and to enjoy life once more in a really beautiful way. And yeah, I just wanted to point this out for our listeners. I absolutely love uh, Louis' eyes and his passion. Like, I hope you won't get this the wrong way, but I feel like I'm seeing I don't know, the 5-year-old passionate about life and about uh,
Mhm.
the beauty of everything that's still inside of you, that speaks from such a pure and loving place. It's wonderful for me to see and to feel. And yeah, I appreciate that about you. And aside from the amazing things that you're saying, and the huge perspective that you have on this planet, on everything that's happening, like I feel that you have so much experience in life and in relationship to nature, and so much understanding of it, that it's very fascinating. But you still have that childlike enthusiasm and passion and curiosity, and I really love that about you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I've got a podcast actually we're doing about wonder, a journey into the soul. And that's on the Louie TV, which I just put together. But I'm talking to artists and scientists about what is wonder. I think wonder is that magical intersection between art and science. It makes you present, makes you mindful. And when that happens, it engenders gratitude, you know? So really, that's why it's really one and the same, because then you're grateful for the thing that made you stop, like I said, and go, oh my God, you know? You're you appreciate it, you get it, you love it, you want to protect it, and then you're joyful.
Exactly. And I want to circle back a bit to something that you mentioned that I loved from Gratitude Revealed, the fact that abundance is not actually having more, but it's just the right amount, just not less, not more, but just the right amount, just enough. And I
Right.
find that really powerful and really fascinating, especially from the point of view of the planet. Like, we don't need that much in many situations, and but we are actually already experiencing abundance, isn't it?
Well, it's true. And like again, in nature, you don't find any creature or plant that hoards its resources. There's no need to do that. And here we got this situation where like, was it 1% of the people have 50% of the wealth on the planet? It's a little out of balance, you might say. And in nature, ecosystems flourish when everything is, shared and um so it's a different way of doing it, but I think nature's way is the right way because it has proved itself for millennia. This other way of being greedy actually is leading us on the path of destruction. That's what the fossil fuel economy is all about. Let's extract as much resources, make as much money. I mean, record profits for all these old-fashioned fossil fuel companies. They were making record profits. I mean, year after year, it gets more and more. I think because they realize they're going to run out of the resource, and they're thinking in 50 years, 100 years, there won't be any more oil. So let's just like take the money, as much money as possible. But as they do that, they might destroy the planet, you know? and then there won't be any customers. So I always kind of wonder, that's not a good business strategy. Because who's going to
Exactly.
buy the gasoline if there's no more people left on the planet? But I think you understand the idea. Nature's way of doing things, renewable energy, it works. That's the way to go. And that's what nature does. Nature doesn't waste a single molecule. Nature is very efficient in everything that it does. It is the most efficient system on any level that you can discover because of hundreds of millions of years of trial and error and R&D. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? It's right there under our feet.
Exactly. Exactly. We can learn so much from nature, and uh, for me, it's really fascinating that most of our guests here on the podcast have talked about nature as a way of connecting to gratitude, and it gets you thinking. Like, okay, maybe if you're not feeling grateful, nature can be an answer, and from then on we can explore nature in so many ways and learn from it in so many ways. And I love the fact that there are people like you that have explored it in detail, like you found something that you were very curious about, and you you managed to take us on a journey such a passionate and um, detailed manner. It's you would say, okay, this is something simple, like with a flower. You can see it, you might appreciate it, or you might not. In case you are very busy, you just run along and maybe don't even see it. But just taking that time to appreciate it, to get closer to it, to smell it, to see all its beauty. I think that this is what you were able to do, and I think that it's something that we can all do basically whenever we can, and it just makes us see the simple experience that we might be having going from one place to another in a totally different way, and it connects us beautifully to gratitude. So yeah, I just love the work that you're doing, and I'm really happy that we're able to speak about it and to share it with the world. And since we're talking about this, at the moment of releasing this episode in a few days, Gratitude Revealed will be out. So tell us a little bit more about Gratitude Revealed, and also where our audience can enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, the easiest way would be to go to gratituderevealed.com, where we have offerings where people can maybe host it as as screening, and maybe in a church or synagogue, or there are a lot of options, and also where it's playing live. We're creating events with other big nonprofits. So gratituderevealed.com would be also the best place where you can access educational curriculum about gratitude, where we actually talk about practices. And then there's a special guide for parents to be able to have this conversation with their children. And we have quizzes and games that can lead us into the conversation about all the values that add up to gratitude: wonder, curiosity, creativity, focus, mindfulness, generosity, patience, trust, all that stuff. I think, in my opinion, not being a psychological expert, adds up to gratitude. So they can find all those little practices and the science that backs it up with from UC Berkeley's, UC Berkeley. Oh my God, hold on. UC Berkeley Greater Good Science Center. Um, They have been studying this for decades, and they've provided the science and the scientific articles that prove things like, if you have purpose, you live longer. If you practice gratitude, kids have better grades in school. So there's like data that is there for those that want to take a deeper dive into it. You can read the actual scientific articles. It's pretty cool. So, anyways, it's short and sweet. There's a little quick one. I like the one-liners, like, if you have purpose, you live longer. I mean, I get it. I don't have to read the scientific article that did the study and proved it. We know it's true in our hearts. You know, we know it's true, but it's good to have data to back it up.
Definitely, always, it's great, especially for people that are looking for that. But yeah, I believe that there are things that we just feel that are right and that are the right thing for us and that help us, and maybe we don't understand how, but they do. And so it's wonderful to know that there is data that's backing this up, and it's not just us imagining things and
Right.
thinking it's helpful. Yeah. So also talk a little bit, please, about Louis channel. So what's the purpose, and yeah, uh, when will it be live?
Yeah. Well, we're going to do an official launch on 420. It's Louie channel.tv. So it's an over the top channel. And that means it's more than just like an app on your phone. It does work on the phone, but it also works like on the Apple TV or Roku or on smart TVs. So you'll be able to get really high quality 4K content. And since I have a lot of content and magic moments that I've been saving over the years, I decided to create a platform that was just positive, that was just celebration of life, that honored remarkable but ordinary people. Because, most platforms, whatever content they have, there's always a mix of like violence and, crime and shooting and murder and uh, sexual exploitation. It's like, I can't look at that stuff. I can't even look at it for like 10 seconds if I'm switching a channel. And I think we're going to find out that it is toxic. And we know, there are studies that say it, but to the degree that as we look back in time, it was like 15 years, people were saying smoking, it creates lung cancer, and nobody did anything about it. And we went through a long period of like fast food is bad for you, and now we have diabetes epidemic. Nobody did anything about it. Pesticides, long time, people argued back and forth if it was bad for you or not. I think looking at murder and crime and violence thousands of times, tens of thousands of times in the course of your life, we're going to find out it has really a numbing effect on the brain. So I want to create a place that's safe to go, that is like celebration of life, that is nothing but positive energy. And actually, many people have said when they looked at the moving art series that it's a healing modality, which really blows my mind because I never made that claim. But parents that have children with autism, teenagers that are suicidal, people with stress and anxiety, cancer patients, people with end of life anxiety. In that entire spectrum, I have hundreds of comments claiming that the videos of just nature imagery with music, not just, but without words, is a healing modality. And I am now, we are bringing it into healthcare, and we are doing clinical trials to prove that it's true. But I definitely believe if you're in a hospital, you should have the ability to go to any like ecosystem you want to go to. It's different digital than the real thing, but they're just different. Not one isn't better than the other. Just like digital music isn't necessarily better or worse than live music. And if you didn't have digital music, think how limited your repertoire would be of music that you ever heard, you know? So if I can show you Galapagos, if I could show you Africa, if I could show you what it's like to be underwater with a dolphin and a whale, that is stuff you're probably never going to see ever. So why not? Share that energy with people, especially people who are unfortunately going through challenges and stuck indoors. And in a healthcare crisis situation, they need all the positive energy they can get. And looking into nature is like looking into a mirror where every cell in your body can rejoice and go, "Hey, I'm alive." And let's get it on, and let's get healthy, and let's get the fuck out of here.
I love this. I love this, and I love your attitude. And it's so powerful, and it makes so much sense because we are connected to nature, and when we're able to connect with the beauty of it, I think the reason why it works is because we have empathy, and when we see someone that's smiling, we tend to smile back. When we see someone that's happy, we tend to feel that too. And it works similarly, unfortunately, with violence and with other bad things that we get fed too much, much too much on
Yeah.
TV and everywhere, basically. So I think that has, I think too that has a powerful effect on us. And when I'm thinking about patients that are watching something that's natural, that's flowing, that's beautiful. It just, through empathy, I think it just helps the patient feel more at ease and help the body heal much faster. It's wonderful what you're doing, and I'm really happy that we got to spend this wonderful time together, and that you're doing this kind of work. It's just, I don't know, divine. It's something that um, we're blessed to enjoy thanks to you and thanks to your work. And um I don't know, it's just like a touch of godliness somehow
Uh,
to be able to experience this kind of beauty, that, like you said, we wouldn't be able to, and it would be really really complicated to do so. And I also want to appreciate you on the fact that I I know through my limited experience how hard it can be to take some shots of some things. And even if it's something really simple, you need all kinds of equipment, all kinds of batteries, and all kinds of things that you don't think about when you're just watching. I know how complicated it can be, how many investments there are, and I want to appreciate that too about you. And yeah,
thank
thank you for doing this for us, for everyone.
I'm glad you acknowledged it because sometimes people go, "Oh, you're so lucky. You get to go to all these great places." And what you described was the reality. Yeah, I have logistics, batteries and equipment and travel and people and resources and time and money. And when I get to capture it, and then when I finally get to share it, that's when I finally get to enjoy it. Because otherwise, I'm managing an operation. You know what I mean? It's pretty challenging. It so yeah. Thank you for acknowledging it because it isn't like bliss, and I just hit the switch and go, let's get this rainbow.
Exactly. It sometimes takes a lot of time and many very expensive resources, taking into very tricky environments to be able to get what you're getting. Appreciate you on this. And I'm
Okay.
sure that our listeners will appreciate your work even more. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you. Awesome interview with you, and yeah, keep shining that bright light into the darkness from where you are. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So for our listeners, go to gratitudereveal.com and enjoy this beautiful work that this amazing human being has created for us. Thank you. Hey, Gratitude Seeker, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this interview. I really appreciate it. And if you could think of one person that would also benefit from it, share it with them. It might actually be the inspiration that they need to make their day or maybe even their life much better. Thank you so much once again. This has been Georgian Benta. Don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.